Hello everybody. Long time no see. So I'm back to some live coding because last week we announced Uno Platform 6.0 finally. It was a long journey. It was, I would say it was over 1 year in the making. So quite a big release, and there was a lot of things announced. And there is gonna be a big webinar this week there where we will be going through many of those cool things that we made for 6.0 and also for Uno Platform Studio. So I will not be focusing on Uno 6 today because I will not spoil things for the end of the week. So if you want to join us for the webinar, it's somewhere here. Let's see. Webinar. We have a webinar, launch webinar here on May 15th on YouTube, so you can add it to your calendar and join us there when we are actually doing the webinar. And we will be showing samples of everything that we've done for Uno 6 and for Uno Platform Studio. So there's going to be a lot of demos, a lot of live, great chance to do live Q&A, and we will be also showing the new controls like media player element and web view, and overall showing how we made Uno Platform and Uno Platform Studio better last week. So it's gonna be a very nice webinar, so if you have time, definitely join us for that. But today I will be focusing on something different because I don't want to spoil things, and so instead I will be going straight into some coding today. And I see MCNS is here, so hello. Nice to see you again. So I will be going to our pull request because because we were very focused on Uno 6 recently. So I was basically focusing mostly on Uno Platform 6 related PRs, but I have a lot of PRs that I need to finalize still in the pull requests backlog. So I wanted to go back to one of them today, or actually one or two of them. I'm not sure how it will go, but there are two actually bigger ones that I was working before, and that's Application Data Container and Menu Flyout. So these two actually are very interesting. So Application Data Container, where you probably know that we have support for application preferences and application settings via the Application Data API, and that's super useful for applications that need to store some preferences of the user across launches. But we actually don't have the ability to group settings together into some logical groups, and that's what Application Data Container allows you to do. But to actually introduce support for it, there are several things that need to be changed in the Application Data Container, Application Data API implementation that we have now. So that's what I was trying to do in this PR, and it's probably far from finalized, but the first step that I will need to do is actually to bring that PR up to date, because it's been a long time since I touched this, so you can see there's a lot of conflicts that I will need to resolve. But it's gonna be interesting when it's actually working, so we'll see how it goes. Hello everybody in the chat. Nice to see you here. And there is another PR that I was working on recently, but got sidetracked again, and now I'm back to it, and that's a Menu Flyout PR that actually updates the Menu Flyout source code from the latest WinUI sources, so it makes it really aligned with WinUI with all the features that are there, but also it brings support for keyboard accelerators, which is pretty cool because it allows you to actually have keyboard shortcuts within the Menu Flyout menu items, which makes it much more useful, much more capable, and I'm not sure if this will still work. We'll see. So this PR will be a big one, and it actually aligns a lot of other things, not only in the Menu Flyout area, but also for keyboard accelerator support in general. So it's a big one, and it has a lot of code there. Actually, let's see how many lines it is now. So let's see. It has now 11,000 lines of code, but a lot of that is actually code related to tests, because I ported also a lot of the tests from the VNUR sources. So there is a lot of unit tests or runtime tests for menu flyout, and also a lot of runtime tests for the keyboard accelerators. Both are there, and there is a lot of things to be done there. So yeah. Let's see if this is working. So this is actually one interesting factoid here. This is our sample application that we use to actually test UNO platform. And if you have joined some previous live coding sessions, you've probably seen this before, because it's always open when I code UNO platform. But here in this section, you can see how it looks in the browser. And this is actually the Skia WebAssembly version of that sample application. So we have now two different WebAssembly versions. We have native WebAssembly, which is the HTML DOM-based one. And we have the Skia WebAssembly version, which is based on the Skia rendering. And if I go to developer tools, you can actually see it, because if I click here, there's just UNO canvas there, which is the thing that all the UI is rendered on. So there is some UNO canvas, then some accessibility related elements, but nothing else, which makes the visual tree in the browser much simpler and much faster to load as well. So that's a good thing. The nice thing is that we still can generate the accessibility related elements. So there is an accessibility area which you can enable and have actually screen readers read the UI. But that's something that I would have to have the screen readers enabled for that. So yeah. All right, so this Skia WebAssembly sample actually is running on that PR, which is menu flyout support. So you can see this updated look of the menu flyout, and you can see that when I opened it with the mouse, it has a kind of a compact look and feel. But when I switch to touch simulation, it has a little bit, maybe now, touch simulation. Oh, okay. Maybe something I broke during that PR. Actually, seems that I cannot select elements because, yeah, I haven't worked on this PR yet. So there's still quite some bugs apparently. So that's something we'll need to fix. But if I was able to enable that touch simulation, which I really cannot now, it will enable us to actually see that it's bigger when you're using touch. The good thing is that in the hierarchy, you can actually see even that opening submenus is now working very well, and you can also close submenus as a whole. So many of the things that were broken before now are working very well, except for that checkbox. That's interesting. We'll have to look into that. So that's this one. And the keyboard accelerators should then automatically work with that as well. So when you would have keyboard accelerators assigned to some of these menu items, then they would also show up in the kind of description area here, the caption area, would show the keyboard accelerator that's required, that will trigger that function. So that's a big PR that we need to work on. And then there is the application data one. So I'm thinking which would be a better starting point here. Well, actually, let's start with this one, so I can actually at least rebase it on the latest master, because there is a lot of conflict. So I will start with this one. We'll see how it goes, and then maybe we will switch to the menu flyout one. So let's see. The last commit was September 2024, which is quite a while. And the rebase will be painful, I'm pretty sure. One interesting thing that is worth mentioning is that the Application Data API is part of the new UNO WinRT package that you can download. Actually, let's see, UNO WinRT. That's a new package. That's we actually separated the non-UI APIs from the UI APIs, so you can actually use the UNO platform non-UI APIs within non-UNO platform applications even. And I'm actually working on a sample that will show this. I can actually show you here, because I have the sample just prepared here. So this is a plain .NET Android application, so there's no UNO platform involved in it. And you can see it's just an activity. Hello Red-Eye developers, nice to see you. So there is a very simple UI where you have a text view on Android. And actually I had help from Copilot to get this working because I don't remember anything from the native Android APIs anymore. So I have a text view here on the main layout. And that text view will show some values. And I'm using the accelerometer API, which comes from Windows Devices Sensors, which is WinRT API. So I'm taking this API and get the readings and then displaying the readings on the application surface. And I can show you that it actually does work. So let's see. So I'm launching in the emulator so that I don't have to connect my device, but you can see there is the readings showing up, but I need to also move the device somehow. So if I move the device, you can see that the values are changing. And this is really the UNO platform accelerometer API running in a non-UNO platform application, a plain Android application, which is pretty cool and very useful. So yes, the question is if are there docs on UNO WinRT, and yes, they are. They are actually the same as the non-UI API documentation that we have. So if you go to reference non-UI, there is a lot of the non-UI API documentations there, and you can just use it the same way as if it was directly inside of UNO platform application. There's no difference there. So for example, the battery information API, you basically just use it the same way as if it was UNO platform. So there is nothing really to document there except for those existing documentations which are exactly the same. So yeah, you can follow what is here and it should work the same way in non-UNO platform applications. Even, for example, the MIDI implementation, the musical instrument device interface, is also working in a non-UNO platform application, which is fun. All right, so let's go back to the rebase. So the rebase, and hello, Dominic. So we have, oh, why is it singing? It's not even instrumental. Ah. Okay, maybe now. Better. All right, so we have first conflicts here. So this is just a generated file, so that shouldn't be a big deal. I think that's gonna be an easy merge. Most of these APIs were not implemented before. I added some implementation, so they need to be now marked as implemented. So that's quick one. Let's continue. So again, generate the APIs. I will just use this version here. And then we have something more interesting. So I added application data container, iOS, macOS, and the master had modified that. That's interesting. How does that work? Let's see, UNO platform, and so we have storage, application data, and here we have, oh, there's not much here. That's interesting. Because it's all in the root here. So no, there is no iOS macOS file there. I will just go with this one. I will adjust as needed. This one deleted it. This one, I think it's just gonna not display because I renamed the files and also moved them. So that's probably the source of the issue. And I will have to adjust the files to include the latest changes. And this is interesting. It doesn't exist. So delete. And this is just complaining for no reason. That's annoying. So let's see what's that file doing. It's application data container Apple. I actually think this file is this file, and it kind of confused itself. So there is no application data Apple file here, and it was moved as a whole to that folder. So I think that's fine, and we can just choose master here, and we'll clean it up later. So continue rebase. There is application data create disposition. So this one kind of tells you if you want to create or create a new file or keep existing file when there is a conflict. So I will keep this file. It's generated. So then we have application data container settings. That has a completely new implementation at PR. So I will keep this version. And okay, we're done. It wasn't that painful, but there might be some things to adjust there. So I will have to go slowly through those files. So let's see the latest changes in each of the files. So we can really compare where we made changes recently and if those changes are actually still included in what I have in here. So Joel has a question that he had issues with Uno Platform Studio download. That's interesting. Can you please create an issue on our Uno Platform repository here? Either here. I'm not sure if I can post links here, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna work, maybe not. I'm not sure. But if not here, then you can create also the issue for Uno Platform Studio specifically, because I think the issue there will be related to the website instead of the platform itself. So there's a studio, I think. The repository is called Studio, and that's a feedback repository. So it's Uno Platform/Studio. So if you go there, you can post the issue and someone will help you definitely to get it working. And because that shouldn't happen, and we should definitely fix that. So please make an issue and someone will look into it. Right. We actually have also Dominic here, so he can also make sure that it's prioritized in the backend. So right. So we go back to application containers, then let's open our solution. And our solution has become a little more complicated since the last time we saw it, because last time we had Skia only on desktop target. So that was very simple. But now Skia is not only on desktop, but also on WebAssembly, on mobile, and that's also, of course, Android and iOS. So that's a lot of additional complexity that we have to care for. So we made the solution layout a little bit nicer. So we have a samples app, we have Uno UI, which contains folders for various parts of the Uno platform core. So there is the WinRT folder, which is just for WinRT part. Then we have UI, we have runtime tests, islands, composition APIs, dispatching, and so on. So it's much more organized now. Hopefully it will be easier for contributors as well to understand how to get things working. But what I wanted to also show you is the new runtimes, because we now have support for Skia Android, Skia Apple UI Kit, which is kind of a unified term for all the Apple platforms, which will be iOS and also potentially tvOS or visionOS if they ever add support for .NET tvOS. So there is Linux frame buffer, there is macOS native, there is WebAssembly browser, there is Win32, which is our new Windows backend that is based on Win32 APIs instead of WPF. This one is now legacy one. We will be probably deprecating it soon, so the Win32 is much better because we have much more control over the windowing side of things and all those advanced APIs that were not available in WPF or were kind of conflicting with WPF. So this is going to be much better desktop support for Windows. And then we have also X11 for Linux. So a lot of things there to unpack. And the nice thing is that when we are adding a new platform like this, it's not that complicated anymore because we just have some kind of rendering framework to implement. Then we have the pointer and keyboard input, and then we have some additional extensions like launcher, or there is actually, let's see, there is for, oh, right. There's nothing here, but if you go to macOS, you have launcher, folder picker, and so on. Those need to be implemented for the new platforms, but otherwise it's all kind of neatly packaged directly inside of that runtime package, and it's easy to add new runtimes as needed. And there is a reason why the Apple UI Kit platform didn't include those folder picker, file opening picker, and launcher APIs and so on, because the setup that we have here allows us to kind of reuse the existing native non-UI API implementation that we have for the native mobile platforms. What that means is that in Uno.NET Core Mobile, we have already existing implementations for example, system, launcher for Android and iOS. Those are there already. So what we wanted to find a way to make them work not only on the native Android and native iOS implementation, but also on the Skia Android and Skia iOS implementation. And that's what we did. And the trick is very cool. Specifically, the Uno UI side of things, when you're targeting Skia, is just Skia. So there is no platform-specific code there that is specific to Android, that is specific to iOS. It's just Skia implementation that's shared across all the platforms. So the UI is exactly the same. But the Uno WinRT does not reference the Uno Skia implementation. It references the Uno.NET Core Mobile implementation instead. So basically, when you're targeting Skia, you still are using the native WinRT implementation for NetCore Mobile, but you are using the Skia UI layer instead. So that's the whole trick there, and it means that for APIs like accelerometer, launcher, and so on, we're just directly using the implementations that are here. And for the Skia desktop targets, we are using the implementations that are inside of the runtime packages instead. So, for example, here, as I mentioned, the macOS implementation has the launcher, file picker, and so on. So all those things are now for the desktop targets are inside of runtime packages, but for mobile targets are still, and WebAssembly are still there where they were before, inside of the native ones. So that's the trick. Yeah, so I check the chat, what's there. Yeah, rebasing is gonna be a little bit tricky, but it might not be as bad as you think, because I think your PR was on a toolkit, right? And if it's in toolkit or mostly localized there, it shouldn't be that bad, because we didn't do any breaking changes. In terms of binary breaking, we did really little binary breaking changes between 5.6 and 6.0. There was not that much. And actually, most of the libraries that are using Uno platform will just work with 5.6 and 6 without any changes. So that's pretty good. We were trying to make sure that we don't break people when it's actually not needed. You just add a new Skia renderer and you just run it. So that's a nice thing. All right, so let's go back to what we were doing here. So Unoskia, and there we have storage, and there we have application data. And let's go to the same folder in here. Storage, and there we have various APIs that various files that were changed recently, and we need to go through the changes to see if we didn't miss something or didn't overwrite something that was there before. So I will go here and now that this commit, but instead I want to see the history of this file. So if I see history, there is 2023 is okay, and this change is probably not there. So this change specifically on this file was, where is it? Application UI kit. It was just renamed. Okay, so it was just renamed, so no big deal here. That is okay. Then we have application data 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Maybe this one, not sure. Android 11 months, let's check that one as well. And this Apple one. And this one, let's see. Not sure if I rebased by then. And yes, that is okay. I'm thinking there was some additional area that was conflicting, but I think that was it. Yeah, so your changes were in toolkit and runtime. So I think the runtime changes will not conflict at all because the folders are the same. Like the actual physical location of those projects is the same. We just made these solution folders to make it more organized, but this is the same. Only you will need to add implementation for the new Skia targets. So that's probably the biggest change that you will need to do after rebase. But the rebase itself hopefully shouldn't be problematic. Maybe there will not be any conflicts at all. Maybe. So let's go back to storage. So we had, I forgot some file, but hopefully not. So this file, the last change was OS checks, and that is in application data Skia. So it was using runtime information before, and now it's using operating system is Linux. So I will use Visual Studio Code for search because I just don't trust the Visual Studio search, or at least it's slower than this one. So it seems that we have this implementation still there, so that's good. So not a problem here. There is a remove behavior. Okay. So it's checking if the key does exist, and that is actually part of the changes that I was doing during this PR. So that's okay. That's gonna be there. Application data container Apple was changed 4 months ago, and that's this one. Oh, it's a bigger one. But where is it? Okay, so that was a rename only. That's not a big deal. And this one. Okay, so that's very close to my changes. So I need to go through all of them, I think. This should be okay, but these changes are potentially problematic. So this one, application data container TS. was just moved. Okay, application data. So this is the change. Okay, so there's quite a few changes. I will need to probably... Yeah, I'm using the vertical tabs. I'm kind of used to it. I'm not sure. It's gives you more kind of overview of all of the text without it being cramped in the title bar. I kind of prefer it because I often open a lot of windows, especially when I'm reviewing notifications in GitHub, and this kind of makes it more organized. So I will have to go through the current master implementation on the WebAssembly side, because there was a lot of changes clearly, and I think those didn't make it inside of the PR that I have now. And this, yeah, is all like related to that implementation. So should be okay if I just go through it all at once. And then we have this. Okay, so this is same file, and that's it, I think. WinRT for tvOS, but that's what I already checked, is just the rename of the file, right? Yeah, without changes, so that's good. So I have to kind of refresh my memory of what I did here, because that's quite a while now. So there are two parts of the PR that were implemented. The first one is setting version of application data, because there is a feature in ApplicationDataContainer, I think, that allows you to set version. Not here, but maybe it's in the ApplicationDataContainer settings one. ApplicationDataContainer settings. This one. And where is it? Where is this file? Oh, it's here. I'm blind. So this one should contain that set version, right? No. Version. Okay, so it's probably not yet, the property is probably not yet there, but it should be here. Version. Not here. Okay. Ah, okay. It's directly in application data, I think. So set version. Yeah. So this method allows you to version your application data, so that when you make an update to your application, you can check this value and potentially update your application's data structure so that it matches the new version of your application, so that you don't break people when they update. You kind of adjust your settings accordingly. And that is actually what I was trying to implement in this PR as well. So this set version async method, yeah, we need to check this actually if the WinUI API is throwing here, but otherwise this is setting version. And the goal is, the goal that I have here is that when I set the version, it needs to be persisted, but for that persistence I need also the application data container settings rewrite, which I'm doing as well. So those are the two parts of it. And let's open a second window here. Actually, I will open the latest master so I can compare what's in there with what I have. Okay, so it's .NET 9, so I can open that. Ooh. By the way, have you ever, has any one of you already tried 6.0, UNO Platform 6.0? Have you tried some features of it? Just so I know how it goes, if there are some issues. I'm interested to know what we can improve. This release was really huge, so we really had a lot of things to adjust before the release, and we had to postpone the release a few times because we found additional things to change. So it was a big undertaking. So with a lot of moving parts, it's always a high chance there is something that goes wrong. So yeah, I would be curious to hear if you had some successes or even issues so far. So we have, why is this complaining? It should be complaining, right? We are on the latest master here. Because the UNO UI Netcore Mobile is loaded, so if I download it, we should be better. Yeah, it's no longer complaining here. So this implementation, let's compare it to the new one. And actually, this is probably the same error that I am getting there, so I will unload the UNO.NET Core Mobile, because I'm not targeting .NET Core Mobile right now, so it's complaining because those folders are not being there, but it's not actually an error in this case. But maybe it is in this case. Let's see. I will hit here. So it's a complaint that is a conflict between versions. So where are those references? That's just one. And then implementation, that is just one. So what are you exactly complaining about? There's a lot of things that are probably not compiling, so I'm not sure if it will even get to this. No. So there is foundation here. I don't. Oh, there is application to the macOS. That's gonna be deleted. Nice. The thing is that that's why it was complaining even. So we removed support for the AppKit based or .NET AppKit based macOS implementation, and instead we are using now the native implementation that we provide, and that's because the .NET implementation of .NET 9 macOS and even the previous ones where it was just too limited and too buggy. So now we have our own, and it seems to be working much better. So that's why we removed it, because it was no longer supported anyway. So this is now UIKit. Nice thing here, worth mentioning, is that these suffixes are actually working in UNO Platform applications, like end user UNO Platform applications as well. So if you use somefile.uikit, somefile.skia, it will only be compiled for that specific target. So that's useful when you want to write platform-specific code that targets specific APIs that are only on specific platforms. So that is there now, and you can use it in your applications very easily. So what we have now, so this is complaining about native application settings. Yeah, that's a new API that I added in this PR. So keys is not implemented. Need to implement that. And there is already defined something. Okay. So there is copy to. Yeah, it's already there once. So I will just remove these copies of that same code. So the idea here is that I moved the implementation or the platform-specific implementation of application settings handling inside of these native application settings files. And instead application data container and application data container settings will now be a managed implementation that will be shared across all of those targets, and it will use instead inside of it the native application settings code that's really specific to each platform. So this one is the Android implementation. It's using the Android preferences. This one is using the SKIA implementation, which is storing the settings inside of a DAT file, DAT file inside of the application data folder on the device. There is the NS user defaults based implementation on iOS, and finally on WebAssembly it's using the native implementation from the browser. So I think it's how is it called now? Well, I forgot, I think. What is the name of it? What is the name of the implementation in the browser? Does anyone remember the settings one? ApplicationDataContainer wasn't. So there's file property set, and we're using application data container interop, which is defined here. No, that's the generated part, but it's here. So this file is probably missing here. Oh, it's here. Okay, but I will. Oh, I renamed it to this instead, but that's fine. I will do native application settings, interop bosom. So I have it separated from the WebAssembly implementation itself. So it's gonna be, we actually have a approach for this. So we have more files that are kind of separated from the main file, and it contains just the interop between JavaScript and the application. So I like this. I will use the same approach there. So underscore namespace and internal partial. So native application settings. In Uno storage, and do the underscores, and this one will have, why do I have to have underscores if it's actually, that's not necessary, right? Well, anyways, so and call it native methods there, and then do the implementation that's gonna be from the current master. So I will take all of those methods and this one is used where? Oh, try get value from manage code. Okay. Oh, so let's move this one here. Nice, neatly cleaned up, and that is supposed to be nullable. Enable. Okay, so now we have more separation here. So the WebAssembly implementation has now a separate file that contains the actual interop methods. I will enable nullables here as well because it's internal, so there is no chance for conflicts within UI. And there are some missing usings, of course. Binary reader, file this key, yeah, okay. Application data container. So this is going to be native methods, and I can actually do using a static native application settings, native methods. And although they might be conflicting the names as well, yeah, that's not good. So I'll just do this, and hopefully that will be enough. So native methods, yeah. So now we'll be using the new interrupt methods that we moved. Some more usings. Map changed, event handler. And what else is there? Oh, there is also this again. Huh? Ah, because there is a shared implementation of that. Okay, this one. Right. We'll need to use the shared implementation there. And this one says deserialize. Okay. So basically what happens here is that each of the platforms has its own platform specific implementation part and also a shared part that's shared across all platforms. And this one will contain the shared code that's handling deserialization, serialization, and so on. But we will be calling into the platform specific implementations partial methods that will be providing the specific values and specific access to the underlying data source. So this is something that's not there yet. I think I stopped the implementation because I didn't finalize this before. So that's something that's going to be important to finalize then. And then we have the managed implementation, the public implementation that's kind of providing adapter between that native application settings implementation and the VNUI API. And here, the nice thing is that when we actually implement it properly, then we will have this just call the native application settings that you should be doing the native things that are required and just returning the results neatly packaged as you expect in VNUI. So that's the goal, at least. And there is this feature, this part of the feature that I wanted to add to application data. That's the containerization, because the application data settings has a create set application data container has a create. No, because I was searching something wrong here. Create container method, and this method allows the user to create a sub-container inside of a application data container. So you have nested application data containers, and you can have really nested logical subgroups of settings. Hello, Jax. I'm currently implementing application data container API inside of Uno platform. Yeah, I'm not sure if you know Uno platform. It's this thing. So you can check on platform.uno. We're providing a cross-platform .NET development framework, which allows you to build UI applications that run on all devices that you can imagine, from mobile, desktop, web, and even IoT devices, all with the same source code with a single code base. So that's what we're doing. And now I'm implementing a part of it, which is implementing the support for user preferences inside of Uno platform, kind of improving our existing implementation of that. So that's the idea. So the application data container, I have, because we cannot really create real containerization or logical grouping in most of the platforms that we target, but we can fake it by having kind of private keys that contain those containers, and that contain the serialized version of those containers, and kind of we can then query those subcontainers by going through those specific keys that contain that specific prefix that container provides. I don't know image UI. What is that? So this is okay. So I'll have to go through the implementation so far because I don't remember much of it anymore. So the application data container. Actually, let's go back to the application data class itself. The application data class creates two basic containers. One is for local, one is for roaming. The roaming one is something that's actually deprecated, but we still keep it for backwards compatibility. So shouldn't be relevant anymore, but it is. Unfortunately, we cannot go around that, so it's still there. So this application data container is for local and roaming. We create a name for it, and then we generate a native application settings implementation, or get the native application settings implementation for that given locality. So we have two localities, and some platforms do support a separation between local and roaming, even though it's not actually roaming. The separation is there. So we create two containers. And those containers are then, and I think I can skip all this. There is no significant change towards this feature. The application data container then generates its own application data container settings, which actually stores the values for that container. So most of the magic happens here. And there are containers which are subcontainers of this specific container. So if I go here, I will create a dictionary of containers and check the native application settings to find the ones that have a given prefix. The prefix that matches our container path plus these two underscores, which indicates an internal setting, which is only visible to Uno platform, but it's not visible to external users. So this prefix, when I search for it and get the key and find the separator in there, I get the container name and then create a container, the subcontainer instance inside of this container itself. So this takes a parent and then takes locality of that container into account, which then goes here. So it's kind of a nested subcontainer inside of our current container. I think if I am able to run the application, I made some unit tests and runtime tests to actually verify this functionality. So if it's there, we could see how many things are working and how many are not. So yeah, but there are still some issues. So let's see. Owner doesn't exist. Okay. So this doesn't exist. Native application settings, WebAssembly. Does that even matter right now? Because I'm building Skia. It shouldn't matter to us. So why are you complaining? Because this is not supposed to be there, I will just comment it out. This whole thing needs to be changed, so I will just comment out the issues, so I don't have to... it doesn't block the compilation. So WebAssembly will need to be updated, but we can live with it being commented out for now. There is this one. This is never used. It's not a problem. We can live with that for now as well. We'll do a to-do. Let's see. Map changed. So warning disable CS 7. So for now, let's disable this. Alright, so this expects some implementation. I think there was an implementation in Skia 1 already. So setting, there is one. But maybe it returns something? No, it's the same thing. But this one is nullable. That might be it. No, because it's complaining about reference implementation. Okay. Let's maybe do I need to have one reference there. Okay, let's create an implementation for net reference. This one is essentially unused. This is there just for the assembly switching between Skia runtime and WebAssembly runtime. It doesn't actually need to have a proper implementation. It can just throw a not implemented exception, but it needs to be there. Otherwise, I will have errors. So I will do throw new not implemented exception here. And there is this one. Oh, maybe let's just tweet this whole thing, I think. So like this, it has to be nullable, enable, and there needs to be also try get setting. That also throws. So these two, I'm not sure if there's something else, supports locality. So this one. False, can be false, and something else. Oh, static. Okay, it's static bool. And there is, what is it? Needs to be just before this. Okay. What else? This is not used. We disabled that, and then we have clear application data container. Okay. Okay, this is clear method, which is not implemented yet. I think there is no implementation yet. There, application data container CS clear. There is no clear method, but it should be inside of values.clear, right? So application data container, there is values.clear. That one is there. Remove keys with prefix. I will just create a stub for this method for now, and it needs to be created in the right place, which is this one. That's good. And then there is the container separator, and that is inside of this file. No, I renamed that separator thingy, container separator. So like this. A string. And then we set this split by container separator. Oh, okay, container list separator. That's a separate thing. I see. Private const string. Oh, we can reuse the same one actually. Container list separator can be the same thing. So we split the list, which is going to be again as string. Where is a link method, which is not included, and then we set it. So what these methods are doing is that because we need to kind of fake that logical sub-container structure inside of application settings, I created a special settings that's private, not visible to users, that will contain the list of UNO platform containers inside of this specific container. So basically it's the name of the container concatenated with some kind of specific __ and UNO containers, which is the name of the key. And when you read that key, you will get a list of containers inside of this container separated by a separator. And when you parse it, you can get the list of all the containers that are actually existing in this specific container. Even though they might be still empty, you will know that they are created and they are there. So this way you can kind of persist empty containers even though they have no settings inside of it yet. So that's UNOSkia. Let's build it again. There's going to be still some additional issues, but we'll have to adjust as needed. So WASM. Okay, I will just copy for now this implementation to the WASM file, so we don't get blocked on this one. Because I will focus on the Skia implementation first, because that's the one that's gonna be easier, and I have the solution open. I start getting Skia, so it's gonna be easier for me to implement as well. So let's see this one. Setting doesn't match. Okay, that's because it's not nullable. And should this be nullable even? We'll have to check if value should be nullable. I'm just making notes for myself to not forget these things later. For now, I'll just do this. And I will adjust later, but let's get this to compile. So one more here. Right, that's the enumeration of keys inside of the application data settings. So for now, it's getting keys with prefix, except for the ones which have internal settings prefix, which is the __, and it's complaining because it cannot convert to collection. So I do to array there so that it's possible. So now we have something that could compile, and it doesn't still. What is it? Remove method. Private, partial. Oh no, gotta freeze. Partial bool remove key. And that implementation that we have there is, yeah, that's public bool. Yes, so it's gonna be remove setting. We'll adjust existing ones so that they are named the same. So remove setting, and inside of the Skia, yeah, of course, I know. And like this, it could be okay, but I need to add the same not implemented exception implementation here as well as to the reference one for now. Let's run it. Fingers crossed now. Although, no, it's not gonna work. There's more to be fixed. And this one is, what is it? Keys is not available on Unoskia. Uno reference, I mean. Keys. Keys should be actually in here directly. I see. They are not there. So I put them here and do throw new not implemented exception for now. And it should be enumerable of keys, which it's iCollection, that's why. Good. And this already contains definition, so I will just comment it out for now. And hopefully now it will compile at least. Good thing is that all these commented out things and not implemented exceptions will be very visible when we actually try to run the runtime test. It will fail immediately on various things because we have quite a good coverage of this API, so it's not going to be hard to actually catch if we didn't leave anything not implemented accidentally. Okay, things are launching now. Seems that it will compile this time. All right, so how far can we get? I think it will crash on startup somehow because we are storing some settings, and it did, of course. Yeah, so what is the application data container setting? So this is the one, this is the place when it initially fails. So this will probably need to be implemented right away, otherwise we will not get far. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. So this one. So we can actually steal a little bit from this code. So this implementation can be exactly the same here. So if it contains, we throw, otherwise if it's not null, so value cannot be null. So that's good to know. So value cannot be null here. If native settings, add or set, we could do a set method. So let's see. The application setting, oh, there is a set method. Ah, right. We can do something like this. So that's going to be adding the value. If it contains, we can do contains key. I'm not sure if it's implemented correctly. Yeah, it should be. Okay. So this just checks. Oh, but this is key implementation. We need a general one. So it's gonna be a contains setting of key. The idea here is basically the separation is that the application data container is aware of the nesting and everything, but the native application settings is just a dump container of dump application settings implementation that doesn't know anything about nesting. It just returns key and values and works with keys and values without being aware of anything specific to UNO platform or the UNO platform structure there. So this will allow us to store the settings without caring about some specificities like serialization and nesting that are implemented in that shared location here. So this implementation, let's take it outside of there. I'll do values contains key, and then we have the same thing for WebAssembly, which will for now just throw. No. Exception, and this same thing for reference implementation. Okay. And this is now not nullable, which is good because I can remove that exclamation mark there. And wasm again not nullable anymore. Okay, so that's a little bit progress, but it's still only gonna compile because we have this contains that's not working. So contains key. Let's see. The contains key contains wasn't supported before. Settings. So contains key is ambiguous. So implementation, where is the ambiguity coming from? There is just one, or is it not? Is there one for? No, I don't see it. So what is it complaining about? Contains setting, that's just one implementation as far as I can see. It's probably here. That's the conflict. I see. So I remove it from here and put that implementation in here for now. And I think that could be okay. All right, come on. Tell me it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Right, so we have contains key and yeah, and equals, the value should be equal to the serialized value of that key. And then we have the contains key. We can actually wrap this inside of that call. So contains key item.key and equals. Okay, so that's this one. Copy to. So that one is definitely not used on startup. We don't have removal on startup, but try get value is probably used somewhere. So we'll have to do that. We can use try get value, get. Oh, right. Let's implement that. String key object value try get setting okay. So we have try get value now, and we can use it in here. So native application settings, try get value container setting. Whoa. Okay, no. Let's do it once more. What did I do here? Okay. Nice. So we get the serialized value, and it should be out parameter. So out. And we deserialize the value. Okay, so it should be a string. Deserialize, and then we return the value. Like this. So there is again some kind of second implementation of that inside of the WebAssembly, maybe. Yes, indeed. So we move it there to try get setting. And it's going to be object, right? Try get setting is okay. Why is it serializing and deserializing? I'm not sure if I want this to serialize. So what I wanted is to have the serialization outside of the native application settings class. So technically, the serialization would be a concern of the application data container settings class, and that one would do all that heavy lifting. So technically, this will just return objects and not care about serialization at all. So for now, let's keep it there, but we would probably want to adjust this. Right. So try get setting is a string value output, so it should output string value. So this one should be string, and the inner value should be a string as well. So that is okay. Okay, let's try to run it, but there's going to be more issues, I think. So far it's compiling, so we'll see if it launches. But we made quite a big chunk of changes now. So I will just push this probably, because we didn't do anything too breaking. All of those things were just commenting out or not implement exceptions, which are not problematic for us at all. Just we just adjust as needed. So let's push it down and see. Getting there. All right, so remove is actually called from, okay, so there's a test that is run on startup and it's trying to remove a key. So I'll have to call remove on remove. And we'll need to add an implementation for that. So it's gonna be remove setting is there. Is it actually called somewhere? No. So I would have void remove string key, and it's gonna be calling remove setting key. As a boolean remove. No, that's not needed. So just remove the setting like that. And again, we have a conflict with WebAssembly here. So remove method is already there. We just move that implementation for now to this partial method. Okay, so that's another progress. Yeah, this PR is a bigger one because it has a lot of moving parts, because unlike many PRs they are specifically targeting a specific one single platform, this one is targeting everyone and is doing a good thing, that's abstracting the platform specifics into their own files and keeping the shared logic in a common place. But that also means that it requires a lot of changes, because the existing implementation was really platform specific, and this means that it makes our life a little bit harder, because we have to juggle not only the platform specifics but also the shared code, and make sure that we don't regress or change the behavior of existing logic. So that's two things that need to be assured, and that's luckily where our runtime tests will come into play. Because I remember that I was adding additional runtime tests, but there is already a lot of existing runtime tests in there, and the application is running nice. So let's see. So application data. Application data container, maybe. Okay, so there is a clearing that's not supported. It's gonna be a lot of exceptions there. But I think this one is a logical one, because every single test is clearing after itself. So that's why it's all failing. So I will have to add a clear method there. I will have to check if clearing the keys also clears the sub-containers. Does clear also remove sub-containers? Let's put it here. And we'll call the native implementation inside of this. Clear, and that implementation is here. clear. Oh, okay, so there's no clear, no clear here. And that's actually a problematic thing. Because I need to be able to remove keys that have a specific prefix, but I do not want to clear keys that have that are subcontainers in case we don't remove subcontainers. So how do we do it? We should be providing some kind of public. Let's maybe do it like this. I'll do public void remove keys, predicate string should remove. Which one? Which will be going through all the keys and removing the ones that are relevant to us. That's okay. So this one will be used in the clear method. Okay. And this one will need to check if it's if it starts with the container path, yeah, but doesn't start with the internal setting prefix. So we need to skip the internal prefix, the internal keys of this container. This is a correct implementation, I think. So we sorry about that. We need to remove all the keys which are inside of this container except for the internal UNO platform's settings, which are not relevant to this clear. This public clear method should just only remove the keys that are actually user settings. So maybe this will work. Right, I think it's gonna be probably the last part of today's stream, so I will probably slowly wrap up. After this builds, I will push the changes and we will continue next time. Hopefully these live coding sessions will be more regular right now because we now have a little bit more time except for working on some future updates, but we'll be making more content. Not just me, but also other members of the UNO platform team. So we will be making more content about UNO platform in general, because of course we need to make sure that people know how to use it and what's so cool about it. So yeah, this is one of the many future live codings. All right, so let's see if it's already, it's running now. Let's see if it's at least able to run. Application data container. That one is asking for keys, but does every single method? Oh, every single method uses keys to actually go through the keys inside of the application data, so that is problematic. Okay, anyways, we'll continue on this next time. I will just mark this change. So setting operation. And we will continue on this next time. There's still a lot of things to do because we need to make sure that all the methods are implemented, of course. Then we have to review the implementation of specific platforms so that it actually still works the same way as before. So existing UNO platform applications cannot break due to these changes. So the keys that are in the root of application data still need to stay in the root of application data. And finally, we need to make sure that we we are able to set the version of application data when we have everything working. So there's still a lot of things to do, and there's also a lot of runtime tests to be written. So I think even though I started on those, I didn't write that many yet. So that's gonna be also, yeah, so this is some basic application data containers, container tests, but it's definitely not all of them that I want to test. So we'll see how far we can get the next time. But even though it seems like there's a lot of changes still need to be done, we have the foundations there. So we should be able to now continue with actually implementing individual methods, making sure they work as expected on the Skia target. And then when we have Skia target working and passing all the tests, then implementing the others should be relatively easy and straightforward, just implementing the native application data implementation. So nothing too scary and hard. So yeah, right. So thank you all for coming to today's stream. I'm happy to be back and happy to do this more regularly now. And I hope I will see you next week on Monday. I hope I will be able to do it again on Monday. Should be okay, I think. And yeah, so thank you again for joining, and see you next time.